notification to pop up before I start talking. I don't know if y'all can say too.
So we're live with you, right?
Yeah. Y'all ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Ryan, me, Maxwell, Mark.
I did it my way. And before the click.
Hey friends, we're off here again with the Louisville Pro Activist Report. Really excited because I've got a really cool show for you all today. This is part 2 of a doubleheader. So who I have with me today, the 502 live streamers. Let me get them on camera here for you all. Here we go. From left to right, we got Jared Riot, Summer Dickerson, Maxwell Mitchell, Tyra Bassett. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Rolf.
If you all haven't watched it already, like I said, this is part 2. The 502 live streamers just interviewed Shamika Parrish Wright. So after this is over, go check that out on one of their mini pages, or all of their pages, you know, whatever you want to do. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. First off, who just kind of wants to tell me about how 502 live streamers came about?
Go ahead, Tar. You want me to? We kind of came together collectively at the protests starting in May of last year as more of a, I think, a security thing, because, you know, every mainstream media team had security with guns, and we were all out here by ourselves, and we just kind of were attracted to each other for the sole purpose of providing each other a little bit of eyes on our backs. And we also recognized that this was going to be a massive project to live stream these protests, and we knew that we all were not going to be able to be out all the time. So it turned out that we kind of divided it up and took shifts, and, you know, some of us were at some events and things that were happening on the other side of town, some of us were there, and, you know, mostly it was just because we shared a common passion, I think, and that was to amplify the voices of people who really needed to be amplified and were not.
Again, I'm here with the 502 live streamers to share this out. So I just want to get a little bit about your background, kind of your inspiration, like how you got into activism and independent media. I guess I'll just kind of go left to right here, start with Jared. So yeah, how did you kind of get involved in activism and get to toting a camera?
I mean, at a young age, I was, you know, slightly involved with activism, handing out pamphlets, you know, kind of things like that. Might have been a little more along the lines of conspiracy theory, actually, than civil rights activism, but always kind of had that passion. I took it into music promotion. I've been a music promoter for, you know, 17, 18 years. That's really what I've done. So, I mean, the way that I found myself with a camera was, you know, night 2, I was down here with a group of medics, and shit hit the fan, you know, stuff was going crazy, and I realized, you know, I had a platform at that time with about 5,000 followers, and it was because of music promotion. So, you know, platform's a platform, and I went live, and I was live for, I think, like 15, 20 minutes that first night, and then a week later, you know, I was live for 4 hours straight. You know, I had to come back. It was just so much, and experiencing so much with LMPD, you know, it drove me to come back and, you know, help out the capacity that I put. So it was really kind of an accident that I ended up being independent people.
Yeah.
Understandable. And I realized I got a little bit ahead of myself and didn't actually introduce you all individually, so my bad, but let me go ahead and do this. Jared Riot right here, Summer Dickerson, Tyra Bassett. So what about you, Summer? How'd you get involved in all of this?
So I got into it because I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and when I got out of everything and kind of turned my life around, I had a lot of things to say, and I wanted people to hear, you know, all the stuff that was going on. And so I kind of got into activism that way. As far as live streaming goes, I was kind of live streaming a little bit just like on a personal level, nothing on a big scale. And then when we came down here, because I've been in different protests and stuff like that, I kind of knew it was kind of important because things could go left. And so it was kind of important to show our story, you know, and so I just wanted to show what was going on down here. And then we I kind of knew everybody a little bit, and we just kind of got into a group together. And actually, I was just saying to them, I would have never thought like things would have came the way it did with the 502 live streamers. It's really blossomed. We were able to show so much during the protest, and not only that, but take it to the community as well. And so it's I don't know, it's been pretty cool.
All right, Maxwell, you're it.
So for me, how it was is I've been involved in different protest die-ins for years, right? I remember years ago at U of L there was a die-in. I had never heard of a die-in back then, but we were protesting for the same reasons we were protesting since May 28, 2020, right? And so, boom, there we go. And so since then, seeing these protests happening around this country, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I got to get over here. But I just couldn't. Pockets weren't so heavy. I needed money. That brought me to Ferguson. Michael Brown being shot by Darren Wilson. And it was with that case I realized that it's much more than on the ground, right? Because I learned in the court case, there was this article in news coverage about Kathy Elizabeth handing jurors this unconstitutional document, pretty much getting Darren Wilson a get out of jail free card, and that's how it was. So I knew that, like, if I would ever go into a protest, I would also want to be learning about things, due process, people's names, positions, what we can do on a different layer, coupled with the protesting. And then boom, May 28th. Oh my gosh, find out this is going in their own city. No excuse now. Get on my bicycle, ride downtown. And before COVID-19 quarantine, I had been hosting 4 events a month, right? 2 poetry slams, 2 open mics, and involved in music interviews, poetry interviews. And so pulling up my phone and going live was not foreign to me. It's kind of muscle memory. And then I just kept doing it. And then while I was live, trying to be of service to people on the street, getting the milk, I came with cloths, try to get people's eyes and cover the amounts of milk to get all that. Somebody help me there. Tear gas out of the throat. I remember there was this cloud of tear gas once, and I saw someone lying down, so I was like, ah! Got him out of it, and then but still got in my throat. Take that claw, and it goes away instantaneously. But anyway, and then since then, just learning all that I can, and it's been, still haven't stopped. Still not over. Things haven't slowed down. They look different, but it's only natural. It's only understandable that they look different. But yeah.
All right, so what's your story?
On my first protest, I was in a stroller, and my sisters were pushing me in the park blocks of Portland State University during the Vietnam War.
That's hardcore. I just want to point that out.
So I say it honestly when I say I've been protesting since I was barely walking, and I've always been very political. I also came down here on May the 29th, 30th. I think it was Saturday. So it was the 30th. After live streaming from the television set, as I was out of town the first 2 nights, and I was getting my feed for my own live stream from WHS, watching Shea Wolfe out of it. And I came down here to survey the damage done, and I realized the damage was to the people, not to the property. And that's what really hooked me the first day, was talking and hearing, mostly listening to people just share their experience, share what it was like to live west of 9th Street, share what it was like to be a black person in Louisville. Just listening to those stories just impacted me in such a profound way that I started to come back, and I came back every day. I mean, for the most part, last year we were here at the square, really from morning till night, almost every single day. And the thousands of hours of live streams that have accumulated are very strong evidence of that. And what I'm most proud about, and what I want to also mention, is there are 4 other 502 live streamers who are not with us right now. Shea Wolfe, who has always been the voice of Brianna for us, who is a media mogul of her own and who has many, many different media interests and was shot with us as a 502 live streamer. John Cherry, who is now an internationally known photographer for Getty, who has just made his mark this last year and does such beautiful photography. Recently featured on the cover of Leo. He just shot his story with Police Chief Erica Shields, which was interesting. And Antonio Teammate Taylor, of course, who has been appointed to the CRAB, the Citizens Review Advisory Board for LNPD, which was a very interesting process as well, and we were grateful to be able to amplify his voice through that. And Jason Downey, who said to us at some point that one day I'm just going to put my camera back in my pocket and go home. And he did. but we love him. He was a very, very vibrant voice of live stream protesting, and just was, hilarious and wonderful. And we love him, and we value all of our other 502 live streamer friends and all the other live streamers, including you all, who have been beside us, through this amazing journey of the last year and a half. And we continue the work that we've been doing. The four of us do a lot of stuff together. I drag them out all the time to do stuff, animal rescue stuff, and
She does.
and homeless outreach stuff, and everything that we do that's of interest to us. I try to get my friends to become a part of, and so it's a natural thing that my 502 family would participate in a lot of those fun things too. So we try to support each other, of course. Maxwell does a million different things, music, and he's had me play the piano and sing on some of his things, which was horrible. Summer's, of course, a fabulous anti-human trafficking worker and advocate. Ridehart's got his own nonprofit working to improve the city through the various things that he does. So, we just keep going, as Travis said. We've got another important anniversary coming up here in November. It's going to be very hard for all of us, but we just keep going.
I like that you're so good at this that you literally answered my next question before I was going to ask it, and that was just about the other members. So again, I'm here at the 502 live streamers at my favorite place, Justice Square. So we're going to talk about independent media and just the state of the media here in just a moment. But before we do that, I just want to stick with you all a little bit more and just kind of talk about what you're working on now, the different projects. I know you kind of brought that up there a little bit, so we'll just go ahead and go with that. And I guess we'll just start with you. Tara, what do you have going on right now?
Well, I will defer to Maxwell because he's got a lot of things going on.
All right.
Especially Tanisha Chappelle.
There it is. I'll transition from that, and I've really been focused on this case with Tanisha Chappelle. Basically, everything I've been learning while protesting and on and off the camera, and how to be there for the families who have lost someone in such a way, and asking myself, what could I be doing next? What else could I be doing? What does live streaming look like? Being known as a live streamer, as I tell people, I was a protester first, right? That's the way it always is, protesting, live streaming. That was kind of the label I'd always voice to people when people would ask, what are you? I'm black, but I'm a protesting live streamer, right? And so the protesting comes out of me first before the live streaming. But I understand that, labels happen naturally from people's eyes, whatever they want to label you, but as it relates to Tanisha Chappelle's case, trying to figure out what happened, and the best I can. So, I've been going back and forth to that county, Jackson County, Indiana, helping the family with whatever they need. I'm really heavy in the video editing a lot with Adobe software. So, I make these, I always thought to myself, the mother of Tanisha Chappelle often said online, she feels like Tanisha's name wasn't getting out there, so what can I do to do that? So I wanted to put a video together to, sort of pull at heartstrings to the community and outside of the community, so they can hear this case. Here in Louisville and outside of Louisville, here, who is Tanisha Chappelle? Well, let me tell you, as best I can anyway, who she is, and what I've learned and how this happened. When the people found out how it happened, how she died. It's heinous, So now we got to figure out what's going on in this jail, what's going on in this jail, what's going on in jail systems across the country. But before we get to across the country, there's jail systems we can investigate and get into here that's right next to us. That being LMPD and 59 minutes away in Jackson County.
20 ODs in one day.
20 ODs in one day, indeed. Been reading about that.
I don't even have words for that.
Now I got flies flying around.
All right, Summer.
As a matter of fact, Maxwell's speaking tonight at an event about Tanisha Chappelle, which is pretty cool.
Do you want to plug that real quick?
I do not, and but yeah, we're trying to figure out more and more what we can do, and yeah.
It's top secret.
What was the question again?
Just tell us about any projects you have going on right now.
I'm always I run a nonprofit called Women of the Well Ministries, and we help women come out of human trafficking and domestic violence. And October is Domestic Violence Month, so this month I will be planning a gathering down here at 6th and Jefferson, just to kind of make space for victims and let their voices be heard, and the survivors that to speak. And and just give other people hope. Also, I'm big into the homeless outreach stuff that we have here in our city going on, and so of course, just working with different groups and things like that, so we can bring more things to our most vulnerable population here in the city. It was really awesome is because here lately we've been going out, we've been able to take resources with us. So counselors, mental health, drug rehabilitation, things like that, we're able to meet them where they're at instead of expecting them to go and get the resources, right? And that was something we all talked about in 2020. We're like, what are things that we can do better to be able to help our community? And we're asking, some of the most vulnerable people in our community to jump through all these hoops, and that's not sustainable to them or any of us, right? So it's just really nice to be able to meet people where they're at and be able to help them with that. And then of course also just highlighting different things in the community that's going on, all over, because I think that we have a lot, we're going through a really tough time as a community, and we have been for last year, and so something that I think we all agree on, that it's very important to show the good things that we do have going on. We have some amazing youth here that are doing something, young prodigies. I'm gonna throw them out there because that's Antonio's baby, and I can't be on here talking about stuff without bringing his baby up. But those kids are amazing, and so those are different things that we're just trying to highlight all kinds of good things that are happening, because we can get so wrapped up in all the negative and all the things that we need to fix, and God knows we have a list of them. But let's knock little things down at a time and highlight those things. So I think that's something that I've been trying to do. And then just as always, trying to make space for women, and that's about it.
Keep me posted on that event down here.
I will. I will have the date out probably by tomorrow. Me, I put stuff together on. I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. So I will definitely have that date out soon. Because I think it's important. Domestic violence, we have the pandemic and stuff going on, and domestic violence is very, very, very real and very, very big, right? All the time, really. But right now, it's really hard. And so I always want to, give space to where people can know that they can get resources and know that they are believed, and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Anybody not familiar with Young Prodigies, check out my Wear Orange gun violence vault video from, I believe, over the summer. They performed on there, and it was really good. So
yeah, they're awesome.
if you want to check them out, it's a good place to see it.
The Real Young Prodigies were also responsible for helping with the Crown Act
Yes.
at
That's
several
exactly
different levels.
right.
So really, really incredible young individuals.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Our future, boy.
Future's bright,
Yes.
So Jared, why don't you tell us about your projects you have going on?
Yeah.
Tell us
No,
about
that
the
was-
fundraiser. That
Well,
was really
the
fun.
thing,
Big
the
fundraiser.
average, or not the where you bring us all together.
See,
It's pretty awesome.
Riot Heart as a nonprofit at the moment is really mostly just trying to navigate the politics and accounting of being a nonprofit. I don't say I have any active projects per se at the moment because of that, because my hands are kind of full. But one of the other board of directors is working on potentially a new domestic violence advocacy group that I can't really discuss any details of yet, but that is something to potentially look forward to. That would end up probably being a fiscal sponsorship and them developing into their own organization, but that's neither here nor there. Aside from that, just trying to focus on improving coverage as much as possible. It's like, that's what put me here, gave me the platform that I have, is keeping eyes on people. So, we're working on trying to figure out some writing for us, so written articles on a regular basis. Maybe some other contributors that would like to do live footage. But if we can get to a position of being, I guess, better structured, more similarly to mainstream media, that's kind of a goal that we're going for. Obviously, it'll still be an unbiased approach, but yeah, my biggest project at the moment is structuring, unfortunately.
Build that foundation.
Let me ask you about, it's been a few months now, but you did a fundraising event at the Mammoth. Just talk about that. How'd that come about, and are you going to be doing anything else like that in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, many years I've been a music promoter and an events coordinator. Started off working on a International Barbecue Festival in Owensboro, Kentucky, that draws 80,000 people a year. I was doing that at 18. So putting together events is my forte. It's what I'm good at. So we are absolutely going to be doing more events like that. The idea was to. I love you.
Have a good night, bud.
The idea behind it was to network some nonprofits, because maybe not a lot of people know this, but Louisville's got one of the highest nonprofits per capita in the United States. There's just excuse my language, fuckload
Yes.
of
There is.
nonprofits in Louisville. So it was actually a struggle for me to decide whether we were going to go nonprofit or be fiscally sponsored, but we decided on the nonprofit. But because of that, there's a lot of nonprofits that do the same work that don't talk to each other, and that's unfortunate. So the idea was to get some of those nonprofits together, get some networking going. So yeah, we had an event at the Mammoth. Had I think 6 or 7 different nonprofits that came out, set up booths. Women in the Well was one of them. I believe, did you have some of the puppy
Yep.
pack stuff set up too?
I'm not a nonprofit.
Not a nonprofit,
But I
but
had
Tara had some puppy pack stuff set up too. So yeah, that's definitely some more of the events that we're going to be trying to do in the future. Maybe like some telethon type things, so we could just like pull some money and then distribute out. But the whole idea is just try to find supporters and funding for these nonprofits that are out here doing the work that don't always get that recognition. So Riot Heart is trying to network people and trying to get their own shit together.
Keep me posted on that stuff, and if I can help out, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you.
It's pretty good.
Tara, do you want to talk about Puppy Pack real quick?
Yeah, I'll talk about that real quick because it's just such an important part of my life. There's a definite link between domestic violence and animal abuse. So one of the most important things to know is I don't just go catch dogs. I look for situations where there is animal abuse. I pull animals out of houses as summer pulls women out of houses. And
We meet in the middle and see where we
meet
can
in the
help.
middle and find what we can help, because if you find animal abuse, you're almost always going to find domestic violence and vice versa. So that's one of the major things that I really try to work on is finding those situations where something is happening to a creature of God, whatever that creature may be, and try to resolve it, try to find some solution to it. So, and I drag these two mostly with me on things like, the Welder-Bears at the Kentucky State Fair, and the animals that are being abused elsewhere. And we did a great interview with a woman who lost her special needs son's emotional support animal, who they are still looking for, Rowdy. And so, we just love to do things. I've been streaming for years. I've started streaming as soon as Facebook started streaming, and I was doing Periscope before that. So, it's just been a natural transition for me. But we are acting more in a capacity as a mainstream media collective of live streamers, because we've got press credentials. We actually are on a lot of mailing lists. We're getting notifications from a lot of organizations in town. We attend the mayor's COVID pressers and other things that he has going, just so we can notify the people who really have come to depend upon our streams. As you know, there are a lot of people who don't watch mainstream media, and the live streamers especially blew up during the protests because it was a source of immediate on-the-ground information that was not necessarily available and was maybe not being presented in the same way by
Mainstream's catching up
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
finally,
Yeah.
this summer.
And Chad Mills.
After we challenged them.
Chad Mills is responsible for the mainstream media in this town. That guy pulled his camera out and went live.
Yeah.
He used to work for DRB. He's gone on to Tampa to grow his career. But man, I'll tell you, he
Can't say he marched with us per se, but he marched alongside
He
us
sure
pretty
did.
much
It sure
the
felt
whole
like he was
time.
marching with
Yeah.
us, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
For his sake,
Right,
I
for
must
his
say.
sake.
I'm not gonna say he was marching
yeah,
with
no,
us.
he marched alongside, but he stayed out.
He
you
was
know?
a good voice for the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I see, and same thing like we do, we turn around a lot of stories. We've had that privilege to be able to do that because mainstream media or whoever decides to put a false narrative out, and we're like, oh no, we have that, so.
We've actually got 16 hours worth
Yeah.
of footage from that
It's like,
day.
here you-
None of that happened.
No, it did not. Let's fix that.
So that's just kind of like, our goal, I think, is to continue to amplify the causes in the city that are dear and near to our hearts, and that also are of interest to people who may have not really thought about watching live streams before, the Breonna Taylor protests took place, and really gathered a tremendous amount of interest in the whole concept of live streaming. So as independent media, you know, we take our jobs very seriously, and we give a lot of consideration to, you know, asking cogent questions and giving a fair shake to everybody who's involved. That's why we're doing this mayoral interview series, because we wanted people who watch live streams to be able to watch and hear from each and every one of the, I think there are 8 candidates now. We've reached out to at least 8 people. So if anybody else is running for mayor, just let us know.
Please let us know.
We'll interview you too. But we've got 4 lined up already. Next week is Craig Greenberg. Following week is Tim Finley. And then November the 11th is Bill Deriff. So we've got 4 more that we haven't heard from yet, but we will. And we'll continue to bring you, you know, the best and the brightest from the vantage point of our little telephone cameras. And just continue to, as I said, just keep going.
Y'all still have a few minutes to talk about state of media and stuff? Or
Sure.
y'all good?
Well, I don't
Do
know.
you have to go?
No, I was gonna say one thing that I enjoy about our group, because with being a live streamer, you're on the front lines of everything, and things. I mean, it got a little, you know, rough emotionally and everything, you know. And to be able to have our group, we were solid. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can say that our group really helped me a lot, you know, of different things that I went through, and just helping each other, just being there, having that emotional support, security, you know what I mean, like every single thing. And so it's like, yeah, there's a group of us, and yeah, you know, we pick our phones up and we do it, but it's so much more than just that, you know what I mean? We're family, we watch out for each other, we've really had each other's back mentally, physically, financially, we've been there for each other, you know, and so I'm really grateful for that, because I would have never thought when Tara put us all together, she's like, here, this is what we're doing. I'm like, okay. 'Cause, you know, she's the boss.
I mean,
Her and Jay. I'm just along for the ride.
And it was beautiful because it was like it was mostly organic. Like
Yeah.
we had all kind of started working and communicating with each other, and then Tara was just the one that kind of